Welcome back to the Watchman Podcast, where we bring you real conversations with leaders who are making a difference in our communities every single day. I'm Deputy Slusher, and today we're diving into a topic that impacts students, families, educators, and communities alike: the importance of engagement. Whether it's building relationships with students, connecting with families, fostering a positive school culture, or creating strong partnerships between school administrators and school resource officers, engagement is often the foundation for success. Our guest today leads one of the largest elementary schools in South Carolina and has built a reputation for creating a culture where students feel valued, staff feel supported, and families feel connected. We're going to talk about leadership, community involvement, school culture, and why relationships matter more than ever in education. So sit back, tune in, and join us for another episode of the Watchman Podcast. Real voices, real service, real impact. Let's get into it.
Joy, thanks for being on the Watchman, buddy. I'm so excited to have you here. But you know, I got my start at Sand Hill Elementary 4 years ago or so, and it was under when Miss Francine Gerald was there. Awesome individual. And then you came in after Francine, right? And when you came in after Francine, everything went tornado, hurricane, category
tropical storm
5, whatever it is. But what an amazing time. And I know I've since moved on from Sand Hill, and I've moved over to Rollins, which is right next door. And one thing about the Watchman is highlighting our youth, our educators, community leaders, and people that have an impact in our children today. But you got to start, I want to say, at Rollins Middle before you've blossomed to where you are, like a roller coaster. But before we get into all the meat and potatoes, I want to take it back where it all started with you. I know you're an Ohio State fan, but we'll touch on that later on. But that's we'll get you some help on that one. But where did it begin with you, man? Where did it all start?
Well, one thing I can say that Slushy and I have in common is that we are both Floridians. So I think we were born in the same hospital.
Same hospital. Imagine that.
North Miami Beach, Florida. So, but no, I actually resided in a small town in northern Idaho for about 15 years. It was great. Was able to like walk out of my house and hundreds of acres of land. And, that was cool. And then, my dad retired from being a doctor. And my mom's job actually brought us to like Texas for a little bit, which Texas high school football, dang, brother.
Is it anything like your Friday Night Lights?
Times by 10 probably. Okay. Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. The facilities that they have there was pretty intense. I went from playing varsity football in Idaho to C team in Texas. So just to put things into perspective, they take it pretty serious. And but then my journey ending in Atlanta, and that's where I met some of my closest friends ever, built relationships, established a home base, and since then I, went to college in Georgia Southern University, did a study abroad program in England where I got to do my student teaching for like 6-8 months.
And that was in England?
Yeah, it was in England. It was a small town called...
You in England?
Yeah, dude, I know. It was a small town called Doncaster. It was awesome. It was a great experience. Got to travel around a little bit, and then when I got home, I went for an interview in Atlanta, and I sat in like 3 hours of traffic, and I was like,
nope, not
bro,
happening.
This is not for me.
Not for me.
And I always heard Charleston was pretty cool, and so I took a chance and got hired over the phone. Started teaching at an all-boys school in West Ashley called St. Andrews. Met my wife there, and then, just kind of went from West Ashley to Mount Pleasant, and then I got tired of sitting in traffic and actually got hired at Oak Brook Middle School here in DD2
All right.
as a eighth grade science teacher.
Oh my gosh, I can see you.
Dude, first day,
I can see you teaching science now.
Oh, I had a leaf blower on the first day, and the first question I always asked a kid is, if you can tell me something that didn't involve science, excluding religion, I'll give you an A for the entire year. No one could ever come up with something. Well, brushing your teeth. Well, those are actually minerals that they grind up, and then they, make a paste for you to, so every little thing involves science. So it was kind of getting their minds activated in a way of thinking that everything around me is learning.
What got you in education? You said your father was a doctor, and your mom did some traveling. Like, what made you say, I want to be an educator?
Well, let's be honest here. I went for the international business route, and then I had to take a foreign language, and I did not do well in that. Mm-hmm. So, and I'm going to be honest with you, I was in college, and I thought, well, summer's off, why not? You know what I mean?
Right.
And, but I, as I take a step back and I reflect on what truly got me into education, I had like a really impactful 6th, 7th, and 8th grade teacher. His name was Mr. Schuler. He was my wrestling coach. He taught ELA, and I hated ELA. I still, to this day, without ChatGPT, woo, okay. But he just impacted me so much. He just showed me what it was like to be a kind human being, and I don't think that there's enough of those people in this world. Sad story, though. I've kind of always stayed in touch with him over the years as I grew up, but I'd say about 5 years ago, I found out that he committed suicide. He became a principal. He moved on up, but he himself had his own demons, and it kind of puts things into perspective that, just because someone looks all cheerful and happy and peppy and, will do everything for anybody, you never really know what's going on in some people's minds.
100%.
So, but that's what kind of led me, and I never really thought I would ever want to be a principal. But when I did decide to make that dark path, I always told myself that I would be the principal that my students would remember. Not in terms of always being like the funny guy, but I'm talking about being visual, okay? Right. And I can't walk down the hallways without 100 kids saying, Mr. Joy, Mr. Joy, Mr. Joy, and I love it, okay?
Listen, I thought I put a lot of steps in during the day. And then here comes Mr. Joy. Who's this Mr. Joy guy? I was tired at the end of the day because, well, what's Joy going to do today? What hallway is Joy going to go down? And I'm going to go down the opposite hallway, and we're going to meet, and we're going to see how many steps each do. Man. But it's incredible. Like, I'm here to tell you, because I'm a firm believer in engagement, right? Engagement is the cornerstone of our collective success. And you got to have buy-in, and when you came over to Sandhill, and I sat back, and I said, oh boy, I got a little competition now,
He's definitely talking about the looks.
No. Well, yeah, right. Well, all around. But watching you, and it just wasn't with the youth.
Yeah.
Right. It was watching your engagement with your team. And at the end of the day, there has to be buy-in, right? There's got to be trust. There's got to be buy-in. And watching you come in to a school nominated for the blue ribbon, right? The standards were set, the expectations were already there. 1,400 students, 1,500 combined with staff and volunteers throughout the day. What in the world were you thinking when you said, I want to be a principal at Sandhill Elementary School? Filling those shoes. What went through your mind? Like, how am I, these people are already bought in. Excellence, ratings, blue ribbon awards. What were you thinking?
Yeah, so I wasn't that type of person that just wanted to be a principal to be a principal. So I thoroughly enjoyed my time here at Rawlings Middle School of the Arts. Shout out to Patrick Pye.
Yeah, who I think was one of your mentors.
Yeah, he was. And he taught me how to run a school. Same with Miss Pletcher down at Fort Dorchester Elementary
Another
School.
great mentor.
Amazing. And, so I didn't just go apply to be a principal at any school. So when I heard Sand Hill was opening up, my own kids went there kindergarten, first, second grade. So I knew a little bit about the school, and I knew since I worked at Rawlings that I knew the community pretty well. And so I did my research. I went and talked to, the builders in the neighborhood, what's the growth rate like? Talked to a couple people in the neighborhood, what are they looking for in a principal? Because, this is like a business at the end of the day, and this is my clientele, so I need to know what they want.
Right.
And so I went for the interviews, and this was the first time I've ever interviewed and was just completely myself. You're either going to like me or you're going to be like, whoa, this guy's crazy.
I think you're crazy. But
yeah, but that's a good thing. You know what I mean? You got to be a little wacky to do this job.
Right. Well, yeah, 100%.
And so I went in it, and I was just my true, unique self. And I got the job. And, somebody once told me, if you go interview for a job, you better be ready to accept that job if they offer it. And I remember sitting there being like, oh, man, 1,300 kids, about to be the largest elementary school in the state, blue ribbon. This is a lot of pressure. So it humbled
when
me.
you got that call and they said, hey, Vincent.
Yeah, man.
Congratulations. You're the new Sand Hill principal. What went through your mind? I mean, what went through your mind? Whoa.
Well, this is a family show, so I'm not going to say that. But however, I did go, wow, let's get to work. And dude, it was so cool. I remember coming here and being introduced in front of the staff, and it was just it was a very humbling experience actually, because it's people saying, hey, I trust this guy to lead a group of amazing humans in this community to grow kids. And that's a lot of pressure. And so accepted it. I remember the first thing I thought to myself is, I want to meet individually with each one of these teachers. And I did. I met with all, 87 teachers at that time individually, 5 to 10 minutes, and just said, I just want to get to know you. What's going well, what's not going well. And based upon those is how I entered that building on the first day of school. And so standing in front of them, I was very clear and direct. We make decisions what's in the best interest for kids. That's it. You might not like some of the stuff. And I was pretty harsh. And I said, you're either going to like me this year or you're not. But I can tell you this. The transfer list comes out in the springtime. And I think I said the transfer list comes out probably 5 times, to the point where somebody came up to me like, dang, dude, you really said it 5 times.
I was in there.
Yeah.
I was in there.
So, but because I only want people that want to be there that have the same vision. And that same vision is, yes, we are here for math, science, social studies, ELA. But at the end of the day, my job is to prepare these kids for the tough road ahead.
Right.
Now, what that looks like can be different for every kid.
Right.
But what I do know, what has to stay the constant, is we have to love on them. You have to love on them. Whether it is a kid that's just coming up to you, Mr. Joy, you still got to love on them.
Right.
Or it's the kid that gets the 17 referrals every year because he doesn't sit in a desk like this. That's okay.
But sometimes our children that get the 17 referrals or they're acting out for attention or whichever is a victim of their own circumstances.
Exactly. We don't know what they're going home to.
Correct.
We do. We think because we live in this nice neighborhood where the average mean house is about $400,000 or more, or, that everything is cupcakes and rainbows for these kids.
It's not.
It's not. And so the one clear thing I want them to know when they walk in those buildings is you're going to get loved on, whether it's from me, whether it's from a teacher, whether it's from a volunteer, the SRO, we're going to love on them.
And and speaking about it, it's all about our youth. It's all about our children. That was Joe Pye's philosophy too.
Yeah.
Right. And we all in DD2 today, we all know what Joe Pye has built and the legacy he's left behind. But that's what it was about. It was about We're going to treat each other like a family, right? But our children come first.
Yep.
And I'm here to tell you, like at Sandhill, and I'm going to say, like it wasn't a very easy decision for me to leave Sandhill and walk right next door to Rollins. There was a lot of prayer, a lot of thought, a lot of discussions with my wife. Am I making the right choice? But then at the end of the day, I'm still here, and I'm still engaged with Sandhill. Sandhill's where it started for me. But to sit back and watch your leadership style, even though I've moved on next door, is truly, truly inspiring. And there should be some show, A Day in the Life of Joy, or something where they follow you around.
I would love to strap a GoPro to my head and just...
But I'm saying all that to say this. I really, really deep down inside, out of the 1,300 children or kids that go to Sandhill, I want to say 1,299 of them look forward to coming to school.
Yeah.
Because what is Mr. Joy going to do today? What table is he going to stand? Listen, I've walked in the classrooms with you with a bag of Jolly Ranchers, open the door and say it's raining. So to sit back, and I'm sure at first some of the teachers were like, oh my gosh, are we teaching today or are we playing today?
Yeah.
But even though you put that, what do you say? Happy child, happy teacher, happy child, happy parent. I don't know how you say that, but it shows. It shows.
Yeah, because if a kid, a lot of problems arise when a kid leaves school. So when a kid leaves school, what are they going home and saying?
Right.
Because every parent internally wants to believe what their kid is saying, okay? But it's the perspective of a 4-year-old to all the way to about 12,
right.
Okay? And so if that kid's going home and a kid pushed him on the recess area, but something other than that happened during that day where I got a popsicle from Mr. Joy, or my teacher praised me with a positive referral,
Right.
or I got high-fived as I was on the way out, or they played my favorite song as I was waiting for my bus. That changes the narrative.
Right.
Because we can't control what other kids do in the building. Kids are going to be kids. We get that. But what we're trying to do is create an environment where everyone's pledging to the same standards, the same expectations. And the most important one is to be kind to one another. And so if we're all being kind to one another, meaning teachers being kind to students, students being kind back to teacher, principals being kind to teacher, principal sees kid falling on ground and helping them up, or seeing a piece of trash on the ground. Right. All these little teeny things add up to a culture where we're bringing the best out of everybody, okay?
Right.
And we're here for 180 days. I'm not expecting 180 days of perfection, but I say this a lot. We all make mistakes. All I ask is that we don't repeat the same mistake twice. Take risk. Have fun, do something, but if it's something that's not allowed or kind of frowned upon, just don't repeat it.
Right.
And so that does help some of our kids.
So this was the first year with the positive referral thing,
yeah.
right? And it's crazy. It's crazy. But I really, Popsicle Fridays or whatever, the positive referrals are giving out popsicles, right? And in the cafeteria at lunchtime where the teachers have written or they've done something positive and they're being rewarded, these children look forward to that. Is my name going to be called? It is off the chain.
It is. And so, at first, I was printing them out myself, taking them to their rooms during classes and doing it, but it got to be too much because these kids are awesome.
Right.
And, and a lot of other schools, the teachers type them up and they just email them to the parents. So the kids never really see it.
Right.
And if the parent doesn't check their email, then what the heck, dude?
Right.
So we had to get creative, and I couldn't maintain with 1,300 plus students doing that on an everyday basis.
Right.
I'm supposed to be an instructional leader, okay? And so so we came up with a system where we were going to print them once a week, and I was going to go into the cafeteria, and I got these big speakers, and we were going to pair it up with popsicles.
It's a rock show. It's a concert.
I stand on a table. Now, the hardest part about being a principal is actually pronouncing a lot of these kids' names. So I always tell them, if I butcher your name, it's okay, but if I get close, we're good. And so we individually call each kid out. They get a popsicle. I sandpaper stamp Mr. Joy's approval on each one of them, and it's a good team effort, and the kids love it. I do want to apologize to the parents that come in on Fridays to have lunch with their kids, because they thought that they were going to get a nice, quiet, peaceful lunch.
And it's a concert.
It's a freaking concert.
At times 12. But, it goes back to the community, too.
Yeah.
The community, the parents are all bought in, right? There is so much support. Like you do your terrific kid celebrations, and the turnout is overwhelming. You have your events at Sandhill, whether it be the fun run, the trunk or treat, the glow run, the field days, and the volunteers and the people that sign up in the community that's involved. What can we do to help? Is what's your take on that? I mean, let me ask you this question. Why is community engagement important for the success of the school?
Well, first off, I have to look at it once again as this is a business sometimes. The community pays my bills. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, at the end of the day,
right.
I mean, the taxpayers pay. So, the community can either make or break you. Mm-hmm. All right? They can either praise you or they can break you down. Right. And so if I get enough people that are drinking the same Kool-Aid as Mr. Joy,
right.
When I call it currency in the bank. So when something doesn't go right, because nobody's perfect, mm-hmm. There's not ever going to be a perfect system. Right. But when something doesn't go right, my school, my team, myself, we have the currency in that bank with the community because we've gotten them involved. One of the things that, when I was reaching out to the community was, well, we want to get back into the schools. We weren't allowed into the schools as much. And I was like, well, is that from COVID? They said, yeah, from COVID, but then it never really got brought back. And any opportunity I get, we're bringing the community. I got paleontologists coming in to speak to classes. Mom, you want to come volunteer? Go be a class mom. We want the help. Right. I want them to see what's going on in the building. I want them to see the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Very transparent.
Because there is an ugly side to this, and it comes down to funding. Now, we make the best what we got do,
right.
Okay? But if I have the community support behind me, take, for instance, I waxed this mustache off for $60-something thousand we raised in a week.
Yeah,
now, not just me.
I don't know if you'll be putting that up anymore.
No.
Because I remember watching that video.
It was painful. But, that was me working with the PTA, and the PTA is the community.
What an amazing, by the way. Speaking of PTA, we're getting off track here. That's down the road.
Amazing. Shout out to Nicole Cruz, what
man.
she did for the past 3 years. And someone else is coming in new, Meredith. But
the chain.
Amazing partnership.
Right.
And, that's the community. Summers Corner is the community. Lennar, the community.
Right.
The Corner House, a community.
Right.
All of this. And so, to get them to buy in, this community, for the most part, loves me. When I live in this community, which is a bit much sometimes,
I'm sure it can
I
be.
remember the first time I was running in the neighborhood, and I wasn't wearing a shirt. It was hot out, and somebody posted, "Oh, look, Mr. Joy, the principal, running down the neighborhood with his shirt. Is this appropriate?" It's pretty hot out, guys, okay?
Right.
And, I am a human being.
Right.
And so, but when I go to the pool, it's Mr. Joy, and I love it.
Right.
It's great. You know what I mean?
Right.
I feel like a superhero. And so, but I've put in that time, and I've put in my work, and I've put in, I'm not just saying words to say words. And so the community to me is why the school is so successful.
What would you say to community members that may not be involved with their schools? Not so much Sandhill or Rollins, but what would you say to community members or people that's listening, like, you know, get involved. Get involved with your schools and your community.
With the world how it is and how crazy it is,
right.
This is our future.
Right.
So when I am old and I'm gonna need some people to help me out.
He gave me a popsicle.
You know
what? Let me hold the popsicle.
I know
for
someday
him.
some kid's gonna be like, oh man, that Mr. Joy. You know, and if it's one kid, if it's two kids or whatever, but like I never remembered my principals as a kid. Could not remember. I'm sure that they were great people.
Right.
But I don't remember them, and it's not that I want to be remembered, but I want them to remember that what school is about. Okay, like it's a giant social experiment.
Right.
It puts you in situations that you're gonna be in later on in life. How to deal with people when something is hard. You know, like my thing is, I'm trying to bring back the power of a C. Like, do you know what a C stands for? Mm-hmm. A C stands for average. I remember when I was in 7th grade PE, I was a little short and chunky at the time, I'll admit that, but I couldn't get myself up that rope, and I got a C. And that was okay.
We're not going to talk about my grades.
And so, but it pushed me. But nowadays, it's all about, well, if my kid doesn't make straight A's, I'm a failure as a parent. I don't get that Instagram picture of my kid walking across the AB honor roll. And I'm trying to get from that mindset of, if we, the parent or the educator, care more about a kid's grade than the own kid, that's the problem.
Right. I agree with that.
And it has nothing to do with the grade. The grade means nothing. The grade just means how hard you tried. What's the work ethic like? Mm-hmm. Do you care enough that this subject matter is boring right now,
right,
but you're still going to grind and learn it because that's what it takes to move to the next grade or next part of life. And I think that's where, you know, whereas adults, we struggle with that all the time. You know what I mean? Like, we have to look at what's coming down the pipeline, and we can either freak out about it or we can just put on a positive attitude. And I think that's what I'm trying to instill in kids. Like, when things get tough, you grind, mm-hmm. you ask for help, because I ask for help. You've helped me before. Pi's helped me before. Miss Pletcher's helped me. My team helps me every day.
Right. I mean, we're only as good as the people that are around us.
Totally.
And it goes back to the buy-in. But let me ask you, you know, you just mentioned about me helping you out. How important is it for the school resource officer to be engaged with the leadership team and with the school? I mean, how important is that?
I actually think it's kind of critical because, once again, the community is entrusting me and my team mm-hmm. to keep their babies safe. That's top priority. Mm-hmm. Top priority is that these kids come here and they feel safe.
Right.
And then they feel loved on.
Right.
But if the SRO is just sitting in an office, not walking around, not engaging with the students or the teachers, checking the doors, being at events, not just being at events, but actively being at events, I think that is everything.
Right. You know, and just like, you know, an SRO is more than just locking a door.
Totally.
An SRO is more than just making sure, because that's a collective effort, right?
It's slushies with slusher.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
No, it is, man. Okay, you know what I mean? Because, like, at the end of the day, yes, you are a police officer, okay? Mm-hmm. Positives and negative context to that sometimes, depending on the livelihood of somebody and how they were raised. Mm-hmm. But I've seen you have kids literally come up and run up to you in front of their parents.
Oh, yeah.
And
it's happened at
and the parents are like,
first, right, what's going on here?
What's going on here? And you've completely have rewritten the narrative in some people's minds.
It's humanizing the badge, right? I mean, at the end of the day, we have a job to do.
Yep.
You know, serve and protect. there's a lot of precious cargo in this building. So from the time, buildings combined. So from the time that I wake up in the morning, my brain doesn't stop.
Yep.
Because when I lay my head on a pillow at night, I'm going to sleep well. But I'll go back to my time when I was in high school, and I'll say his name. It was for a local municipality in Hollywood, Florida. And the SRO at my high school, Dave Hall. I had a podcast several episodes ago. I had Frankie Staropoli on, and we talked about people in your life that kind of mentored you, right? Well, Dave Hall was at SRO. At the time, I was making a right-hand turn thinking that was what I needed to do when he was like, no, Slusher, where you at? Where you going? What are you doing? So with saying that with Dave Hall, you never really sit back and know who's in your life as an officer at that point, making sure you're going to do the right thing. So once I became an SRO, I realized, wow, this is what Dave was doing, and not understanding it. But, I'm going all over the place here, but sometimes law enforcement, we're not seen in a very positive light. But I don't really care about that, because right now I look at it as this is the time to be that change, right? To change that image, and it starts with our youth.
Well, I can tell you, this is year 18 for me in education, and as a teacher, you're not necessarily around an SRO as much.
Right.
But I can tell you, as an administrator for the past 8 years, you're the most engaged SRO. And I'm not saying that to just tell you that because, we're here. I can say that with my hand on the Bible. I've been around a lot of SROs, and you're definitely the most engaged, and that says a lot.
But every one of us, especially in our school affairs unit, every one of us is good. We're all unique, and we all do things a little bit different. But my engagement, I want our youth to know every voice matters.
Yep.
We need to break. Again, some of these children are victims of their own circumstances that
Totally.
they don't have control over. I said earlier, at the end of the day, we've got a job to do, right? At the end of the day. But that doesn't mean that I have to be Mr. Policeman from the moment I put that uniform on to the moment I take that uniform off. Yes,
Yeah.
I have to, I'm in that role, right? But I'm going to play the kickball. I'm going to play the basketball, and that's not a pretty sight watching me play basketball. I'm going to climb a rock wall and get 2 steps up, and because I'm afraid of heights,
Yeah.
right? But I'm going to do it. I'm going to get down on the floor. I'm going to let the child cry, and I'm going to let the child vent, and I'm going to let the child scream. But at the end of the day, we have to be responsible for our actions.
Agreed.
Right? And our youth need to know that. You have a voice, but you're going to hold yourself accountable.
But see, and I think we're kind of getting away with that a little bit in society, unfortunately. And I say that because there's a lot of combativeness. So like when a kid does something wrong, okay, back in my day, it was, what did my kid do? What do you need from me? Now it's, all right, I want to see video. My kid would never do that. You know what I mean? And so it's giving these kids this false voice.
Right.
And it's pitting home versus school sometimes. Like, I gain nothing from disciplining a kid. I gain nothing from it. Mm-hmm. It's the worst part of the job. I do not like calling parents.
Right.
And 99% of the families at Sand Hill are amazing and take the information. Now, you're telling somebody that their kid did something wrong, and that's a hard thing to take. Like, I get that. However, if we're not working cohesively together, it will always be school versus home, versus school and home. And so I tell my team, it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Right.
And that's what I truly do think has made me, I say this lightheaded, a successful principal, because I treat everything how I would want to hear if my kids did something.
But you surround yourself with people on your team that's smarter than you.
Correct. Trust me.
I mean,
my assistant principals, one of my assistant principals has more experience than I do right now. I just look better on the Facebook page, let's just say.
I think the jury's still out on that one.
Yeah. But my secretaries, they do so much work, okay? The teachers do majority of it. I'm just moving pieces, keeping people happy, holding people accountable, but doing it in a way where I would want to be told. So I remember when I was a teacher, and I remember one of my bosses saying something to me, and I was like, dude, that's not the best way of handling it.
Right.
Like, I get it, and I can take a step back and reflect that there's way more to the job now, and maybe they trusted me, so I was just a little punching bag at that one point. But I always told myself, like, I'm never going to be like that. Like, I will just sit down and just... Kathy Sobolewski taught me, when you're having a difficult conversation, just stick to the facts. So if I have to reprimand someone, hey man, you were late 8 times in the past 10 days. That's it.
Right.
What about it? You don't need to be like, why do you keep coming in late? Why can't you do this? Blah, blah. No one wants to hear that.
Right.
It's just an excuse.
Right.
I'm just going to hear some other excuse.
Right.
So like, just treat people. And so I do the same thing with the parents. Hey ma'am, I'm sorry to have to call you. Sir, you sitting down? Yeah,
Right.
Johnny did this again, What are we going to do? What do you need from me? Like, how can I help you? Like,
Right.
What's going on at home? Is there anything? And a lot of the times I have given advice. But see, here's the crazy thing is I'm really good at giving advice for other people's kids. But when it comes to my own kids, oh man, it's tough, dude.
Hey, listen, let's go. Let's back up, not back up, but let's go the fun run.
Oh yeah, man.
Listen. Well, I've been pied at Sandhill before. I think I'm still pulling Cool Whip, whatever it was that they used in this pie, and that was years ago. The fun run. How long did it take you to get the glitter, the powder, whatever it was that was thrown all over? Like what?
Yeah. So if you don't know what our fun run is, okay, it is our week and a half fundraiser that the PTA does. Like the PTA does all of this. Most other schools hire a company and they take 50% of the cut. Not here. Okay. And so the fun run, it was always inside. And when I started, one of the things was the community didn't get an opportunity to be a part of it. They did, but it was really crammed in there. You couldn't really see. It was like an EDM concert. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, let's bring it outside. Okay. And not only are we going to bring it outside, let's bring some dye into it, okay? So we turned what was a glow run into a color run, and we do it for the 5th graders as they leave the nest.
Right.
And so, we're pumping dust or whatever you want to call it into leaf blowers. We're getting rockets shooting off. It took me the weekend to get it out. It was stuck in my ears, my nose. We're turning kids into Cheetos, avatars, and so it's a fun day, man.
Listen, I think the parents or the community that comes here and watches this has more fun than the kids.
I put in 16 miles running that day.
That's
so
insane.
I was sore too. So
That's insane.
Yeah, it was. I'm not just gonna sit there, dude, because I'm still youthful. I still got a little pep in my step right now.
But it's not even the fun run. It's a trunk or treat.
The
trunk or treat. We got the whole parking lot here, packed the Foreign Arts Center, Sandhill.
6,000 people came through last year.
6,000 people.
That's not even
showing
this
up to
community. That's other kids. There was kids from Florence that
Now,
showed
granted,
up.
a lot of it probably wanted some candy.
Totally.
Let's not be naive to that.
Any Somerville dentist that is watching this, we do take business partners.
And speaking of business partners, see Miss Odom, assistant principal at
Oh yes, we have a great business partner.
Sandhill Elementary.
Yep.
But just looking at the trunk or treat, the community involved with the fun run, and some of the other, the field days that we do, I think people are bought in now, Mr. Joy. I think people have bought into, like, this is something more than just my kid learning math and English.
So it's really cool, and I'm having people leave private schools last year alone, I had over 23 kids leave Pinewood Prep to come to Sandhill. And their number one thing was because they don't have the ball for alls. They don't have the fun runs.
Oh.
They don't have, dude, school should be fun.
Yeah, it should.
Okay, like, I'm sorry. Yes, we're here to learn first. But it should be fun, man.
Right. Yeah,
like,
I agree 100%.
Especially in elementary school.
100%.
Like, I know this is a bad movie, but, I mean, Billy Madison said it right when he retook kindergarten. I drew a blue duck because I wanted to see a blue duck.
Right.
Like, if you want to see a red duck, draw a red duck. If you know, like,
right.
School should be what it should be.
It should be. And it's fun. Sandhill's fun. I mean, I get to walk over there.
And we're growing, too. So, year one, it was like, let's change the culture. Let's bring it back. Year two, we had some of the highest growth in our district. And what people don't understand about growth is that, yes, Sandhill is a high-achieving school. The kids are smart. They come smart. We got educated families, okay? They instill learning even before they start kindergarten. So they're coming smart. And we're growing them,
right?
Which is hard. It is hard. We got kids talking about what my AVT is versus my MAT. That's achievement versus growth. We got kids meeting goals in winter that they should be meeting in the spring.
Listen,
and then we're stretching them.
And you know what's crazy is when I came over here to Rawlings, there was like 70 fifth graders from Sandhill that auditioned and got into Rawlings.
Yeah, man.
So my first year at Rawlings, it was like a reunion. 70 kids that auditioned. 60-something, I don't know the exact number. There's that much talent at Sandhill in fifth grade. And other schools. I'm not just calling out Sandhill, but there's other.
The one thing that we do, though, is we promote it. And now, Grant, we have a little level up because the people that live in Sandhill community, it's close to Rawlings.
Right.
So the auditions are close. The hard part for kids that are on the other side of town is maybe their mom works on that Saturday and they don't have a ride up here. So I will say we have a little added advantage in that. Because at the end of the day, a parent has to care enough to get their kid from point A to point B.
Right. Right.
And we're blessed to have a great community, great parents that care enough about the arts.
So we're go back to Fun Run again, but there's something else that you do at Christmas time.
Yeah.
Right? And to talk about it, it's the elf on the shelf or the elf.
Yeah, so a lot of my ideas just randomly come up to me, and they're kind of like spur of the moment things. And, you know, I've always kind of wanted to do like the elf on the shelf, but I just started, like, I just bought the costume and I was just going to post up random parts throughout the day. And, but then I was like, you know what? Let's just do it in the morning. So day one, I just sat on top of our book vending machine and said, "Don't be late to class." And now it's involved to me being in a giant-sized snow globe with Santa, having a snowball fight, or we were at the spa one day getting our feet done, or I know, dude. Or I had a whole beach scene set up that Santa was just chilling, or the elf was just chilling on the beach, and the kids love it, dude. Like, we have to block it off, and I have to have people up there to, hey guys, go to class.
We can't even get them to class because it's like a.
It's just a way to just be like, hey, the day has started. What is he gonna do? And they all think this is the funniest part. They all know it's me. However, I'm like, guys, that's not me. That's my twin brother Tony. And I actually do have a brother Tony, and he is a twin, just not my twin. And so, just a little inside.
We got the Grinch involved. You know, Grinch was stealing your presents.
But that's getting the SRO involved.
That was fun.
You know,
that was fun.
You know, like I do so kindergarten during the holiday time, they read a book about a runaway gingerbread man. Okay.
I forgot about that one.
Yeah. So why would I not buy a gingerbread outfit and bang on the outsides of the kindergarten
and have the SRO chasing you outside in front of the community?
So he chased me one year. I had Lord Farquhar from Shrek chase me this past year. Something that took me 5 minutes made an impact on those kids. Because when
lifetime.
those kids went home, they were like, oh my God, the gingerbread man came.
Right. Yeah. A lifetime. They'll talk about that forever. Yep. So listen, as we wrap up and we close, first thanks for sitting down. We could probably sit here for hours and just keep going.
Slushy and I could. So one thing, I want to say before we wrap up is, I started on, and this is a very lonely job. When you're at the top of anything, it's pretty lonely, right. Okay? But I was blessed when I started on to have an engaged SRO and my maintenance man. And
gotta have Adam in there.
It was just, I was able to go run ideas by people that have nothing to do with education. You know what I mean? And it was a good sounding board for me. And so I heavily relied on my SRO, Slushy, my first year of being a principal, because I really didn't know what I was doing. And he helped me build the culture. And it was easy for him because it just kind of came natural.
Right.
And him and I would bounce ideas off of this relationship, just organically just bloomed from the get-go. I could just tell from the first handshake that I had with him that it was going to be a good relationship. And so at the end of the year, he was like, hey man, you should come to Myrtle Beach with me for the what was it, like the SRO awards.
Yeah,
it's like the Tony Awards or the Oscars for the SROs. And I remember reaching out to your Lieutenant Pittman, and being like, all right, so what are these awards? And I looked it up and I was like, dude, you can nominate people for this? And I just remember saying, because, we nominated you for something for the Channel 2 News.
Yeah.
And I was like, this just seems right. And like I said, I'm not the best poet in the world, but I typed some stuff up and then I threw it into some Chat GPT and we worked together, GPT and I. But it was so easy to write because it was just so true.
And I just want to let you know, that was a very humbling experience for me.
I'm sure, because you're not out here for the awards or the limelight. I get that. I'm not either. But what was written was true. What was said was true, and it was very earned, Slushy. Like I said earlier, I've been in this long enough. I've worked along with enough SROs to see whether people are faking it,
right,
or they're here for the real deal. And you, my bud, are here for the real deal,
listen,
brother.
I appreciate that, but it's not about Wes. It's not about me.
But,
But
you made me successful, dude. You gave me the confidence. When I was down my first year, you'd be like, dude, you got to do this. And you give me a little slap,
right.
and we did it, and it was successful.
Right. And you're going to continue being successful. You will continue. Because whether I'm on a golf course with you, telling you that you can't hit a ball worth nothing. Ohio State isn't any good. There's always going to be that banner. But I appreciate you more than you know, right? And I'm always here for you. Your success is my success. My success is your success. We can't do it alone.
No.
Can't do it alone.
And the people that think that they can do things alone, I don't get it. It's a wrong mindset.
And I'm blessed to be working side by side with one of your mentors at Rollins Middle School, because listen, Rollins Middle School is a very special place too.
Me too. My own daughter goes here.
Right. This place is it's a very unique and special place.
Well, what's so cool about it is that if Rollins didn't exist, you have to think about the 800, almost 900 kids that would be at other middle schools. And I'm not saying that all kids at Rollins are a little different, but they're artsy kids.
They are intelligent.
And this place makes them feel safe.
Yes.
Makes them allows them to be their true, unique selves.
100%. 100%.
And that's awesome that DD2 offers something like that.
100%. I'm excited, man. I'm excited what the future holds for me. I'm excited what the future holds for you. I'm excited for what the future holds for these children.
Yeah.
Some of these children, they sit in here and they'll put on shows or their conversations or discussions, and you just sit back and go, wow, that was not me. and I'm not
Well, we do this big pep rally for SC Ready.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a show. I mean,
It's a concert.
It's a concert because we want them to feel
relaxed.
Like that test, it's not a test. It's just a measuring tool.
Right.
It's for you to brag about how awesome you are.
Right.
Or your teacher did.
Right.
You shouldn't feel stressed about it. It's just a test.
Good stuff, man.
So,
Joy, thanks for being on The Watchman today.
I loved it.
I appreciate you, and stay tuned.
Stay tuned, buddy.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Watchman Podcast. Today's conversation reminds us that great schools are built on great relationships. Whether you're an educator, a parent, a law enforcement officer, a community leader, or simply someone who cares about the next generation, we all have a role to play in creating environments where our youth can thrive. A special thank you to Mr. Joy for sharing his experiences, insights, and passion for serving students and families. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who values leadership, service, and community impact. So until next time, this is Deputy Slusher, and this is the Watchman Podcast, real voices, real service, real impact. So until next time, take care.